welcome back to the newest episode of the Nerd Variety Podcast. We are the hostess three. It is me, Hannah, and also Hunter, and also Josh.
I'm also Hunter, kind of, but not for too long. Maybe next season that'll be different.
Currently,
it's Josh, not also Josh. It's also Josh.
Oh,
AJ.
Josh, yes.
We got
no.
AJ.
Do not. No.
Come on, AJ.
No.
Sorry. OJ. No. Other Josh. OJ. Okay. That's
no, definitely not.
That one's worse.
AJ or OJ? Okay. Choose
JA one. Maybe. JD.
Josh
All right,
also.
All right, Jad.
That's fine.
Anyway, I'm very excited about today's topic. We are going to be discussing musicals, and I love a musical. Did anyone else have majors in like high school? Maybe it was just me. I went to an art school.
No.
So I went to an art school, and so
college prep or tech prep.
Yeah, so I went to an art school in high school, and so my major or whatever, my focus was musical theater, because I did acting and singing and stuff like that. So I love musicals. I know, Hunter, you've been getting more into musicals recently.
I have been attempting.
To. It sounds like successfully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly, maybe.
Josh, I feel like anytime we talk about musicals, you don't say much.
I usually don't, but I do appreciate musicals. I'm very picky with what I like. So it's like I'll explain this more in the episode, but there's like a space. There's like a long space between me like seeing something. I'm like, oh, I like that, and then like people have musical talk, and I'm like, whatever. Then I see one, oh, I like that too. That one's good. I can appreciate that. And there's still some that I still need to watch. So
is it more an issue of like you don't have a problem with them, but that's not really your thing, or
nothing I gravitate toward, but once I see it, I'm like, okay, that was good. They did a great job with that. Music was on point. I think they were being too obnoxious. And I see something that's like, oh, I should probably see that. It's probably really good. And it's a classic. I should watch it just to be a cultured person.
That's fair. So Hunter, you've been trying recently to get into musicals. What kind of made you want to do that?
I don't remember. Although it's very possible that a large part of it was me coming out. And I was just like, this seems like a thing that gay people do. So
you just get to be a little bit extra like flamboyant and dramatic now?
No.
No.
But I mean, maybe a little bit. Maybe
a little bit.
But also, like, I don't know. My dad has always been a big fan of musicals, and he's been trying to get me into musicals for the longest time. But I also think that some of it has been, for me, just a thing where I would immediately write off musicals for the longest time just because they're musicals. This was part of when I was in the closet, to the point that I didn't know I was in the closet. It just felt like a really cozy room. And so I just, I would distance myself from stuff that was maybe even slightly effeminate or anything, because I thought, oh, well, what if people start thinking this about me? Or what if I start giving off vibes that I'm gay or something? I'm not. And I mean, technically, I guess when I identified as male, then I wasn't gay. But now that I'm trans, I identify as gay. So it's a weird.
To piggyback off that, Hunter, it's you're in kind of a similar boat as most like guys that are just dudes versus the
dude bros
people versus the dude bros versus the people that transition, versus the people that come out of the closet with their sexuality, like as gay or asexual or what have you. And it's like it can come off as effeminate, and it's not. It's just it's art.
It's not. So all those people who are oppressed by toxic masculinity. That's really the issue here. Because musical theater is great, and everybody should be into it.
Yeah.
Unless you're not, because of personal preferences.
Right.
Yeah.
This is also mostly true, but not all musicals are great.
No, but not all of anything is great.
That's
right?
not
Like,
true. Yeah, okay, that's true.
give me
Yeah.
one thing that's like, yes, every single thing that falls in this category is awesome.
Every single beat is amazing.
It's like
Every
not even every ice cream flavor is good.
every Josh Davies and Hannah Hogan is amazing.
I don't know. I haven't met all of them.
Oh,
I reserve judgment.
well, and hold up. Yeah, don't Google Josh Davies. Just don't Google Josh Davies. You're not gonna. I'm not the first person that will come up. So just be fair warning.
Yeah.
You don't know this.
I do know this.
Yeah. But in general, musical theater is awesome, and if you can learn to appreciate it, then you will find a lot of them that you do enjoy. Right? And they're about, any matter of like any variety of subject matter. They can be about anything you want. I remember I don't remember much of this musical. I think because I only saw it once and it was real weird. It was what was it called?
I don't know all the musicals.
Putnam County Spelling Bee, something like that. It's basically a musical where there's a bunch of adults playing elementary schoolers at a spelling bee, and it's really weird. And I think Jesus descends from the heavens onto the spelling bee at one point. It was real strange.
Yeah, I mean that just happens occasionally.
I mean, apparently.
It just happens.
Like, if you can make a musical about a spelling bee, you can make a musical about anything.
I'll have what they're smoking.
Rocky Horror Picture Show exists.
Yeah.
That means anything can be a musical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Go for it.
Another one that's I feel like pretty crazy is oh my goodness, I'm like blanking on names of things.
Hannah, you should have been prepared for today.
I know. I didn't. Well, there's lots of musicals I know. I couldn't think of all of them at the time, and I can't think of them now. Sweeney Todd. That's the one.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd is also like, this is a musical?
Yeah.
Like, it's really, if it was, I think they had to make it a musical, because if it wasn't a musical, it'd just be horrifying.
It's
already horrifying. Yeah, it's already horrifying.
It'd just be a horror film.
Yeah, it would just be terrifying.
But let's add musical numbers to it, so he can sing along as people are getting their throats slit and baked into meat pie.
I've really only seen about 2/3 of that movie, because I watched a third of it with my hands over my eyes. Like, no, because I saw it when I was like 16 or 15.
Watch if you watch behind the scenes footage of it, do that, then watch it, then try to watch the whole thing. It'll make it a lot better.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that those are some of my favorites, but those are some interesting musicals. Do either of you have a favorite musical? Like a favorite musical?
This is a tough one. Because I know
you're relatively new to the scene.
Well, I kind of want to say some, but it's not necessarily that I want to say these are my favorites because they're necessarily the best overall, but because of nostalgia, and I just love it. Like, and especially ones that I just love the music of. So the movie's weird. It's one of the weirdest ones, probably. Okay. But with musicals, that's quite a list.
You should go with Avenue Q, because
and I guess you consider this a musical. It's really more of a rock opera, but I think it falls in the same category. Tommy.
I don't know what that is.
So that's the Who rock opera, the first one that they did.
Gotcha, yeah.
It's about Tommy, obviously, who's deaf, dumb, and blind, and then he plays pinball, and then he eventually gets cured, and then he tries to help other people that are disabled and stuff by trying to cure them with pinball, and it's a whole thing. It's a super weird movie, as I've said. And I saw it when I was a kid, and there's this one scene. It's the whole song really for what's it called? It's the one with Tina Turner. She comes in, and it's the Gypsy. I can't remember the actual name of the song, but super weird. And what freaked me out is because it's all about like it's in the process of like his stepfather trying to help cure him with all these weird methods and stuff. Well, they all do, and this is when his stepfather takes him to this woman, Tina Turner's character. And she basically tries to cure him with just a bunch of LSD. And so like they put this one scene, God, this made me so terrified. Put him in like an Iron Maiden with needles full of LSD that pierced him the entire time to try to get him to feel something. And it's like, oh my gosh.
This is your favorite musical?
Probably. It has fantastic music.
My favorite, like,
it creeps me out.
My favorite nostalgic musical is like Oklahoma.
That's very tame compared to this one.
Yeah.
I also love Les Mis.
No, you said it's wild, and I was wondering if either of you have heard of Avenue Q.
No.
Sounds familiar. But
Avenue Q is pretty infamous among like musical theater nerds. It's I've not ever seen it, but it's a comedy where like some of the characters are puppets, and there's a lot of like sex in it. And sexual references and stuff like that, and half the characters are puppets, and they're like very crass puppets. And I'm like,
what was it called again?
It's called Avenue Q.
Oh, it sounds like that. They had a movie that came out last year where it was like Melissa McCarthy.
I don't know.
She was playing a detective in this movie. It's like a raunch comedy.
Oh yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
And it was like, the puppets were doing R-rated stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of R-rated musicals, one of the best for sure that I would say is obviously you have to be a fan, but South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
So that
is a fantastic musical.
This actually leads me into something that I was wondering, because I grew up with musical theater being like, I was in a play that was musical theater, and like I went to musicals, and the only ones that I consider musicals that I watched like on video were musicals that were written for the stage and then just like recorded. But that, I'm guessing, is not like a stage performance. It's just a movie. And so I was gonna ask if you guys consider stuff like basically any Disney movie or that. Like, do you guys consider those musicals?
And I was gonna say, I'm sorry, but I was gonna say real quick that that was kind of my same thing with Tommy. Again, that's why I was like,
right, yeah.
Because I guess technically it was performed probably before it was recorded, but as a concert, not as a musical. Right.
Well, and nowadays they've turned a bunch of movies into musicals. So like The Lion King.
Yeah.
There's a Lion King movie and a Lion King musical. What was the original Lion King movie also a musical? Or is it just a movie with music in it?
I would say
most do we consider live action movies with musical numbers? I consider those mostly to be musicals because those are very specific.
So like
films.
Mary Poppins or
Mary Poppins is considered, I guess it's considered a musical.
I guess it depends on the ratio, right? Like of music to just acting, or non-musical acting, I guess.
Yeah, so in general, I would say that the amount of musical acting to non-musical acting in something like, I don't know, Annie, right, is similar to it would be in something like Mary Poppins, right, where you're going through their story and you have break into dance numbers, whatever, right, up on the rooftops with your chimney sweeps, right, and then if you're going down the like more music, that's when it turns into an operetta and then an opera.
That's what I was going to say.
Because an opera is like fully music. Yeah, Les Mis I think is technically an operetta. Because it's more that like they sing most of the time and occasionally they'll speak.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you won't see the actors. The actors will record their songs in a booth and off camera, and then they'll do like a side of performance while their song is playing during the movie. So because otherwise it wouldn't be the same if they have like the earpieces and you see the little lapel mics and they're singing their heart and they're performing the song. It would be the same thing. You might as well be watching a theater performance.
I mean, I kind of appreciate I'm trying to find the best way to connect the two, but I appreciate what they did with Hamilton, honestly, because there are things like that where I would like to be able to see like the live show. but I can't.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm
limited.
not saying that like a musical on video is no longer musical. I'm saying if it was designed to be a movie and not designed to be a stage production, do we differentiate those?
I mean, I guess you could differentiate them, but
Maybe say they're
not
both
like
musicals.
I mean, they're both musicals.
They're just different types.
Yeah.
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 But again, this is what I was trying to say. I didn't know the best way to connect them, or the two things, like what you were talking about in my thing. But I did just kind of want to mention, I did like, again, how Hamilton worked out there, where I got to see, they recorded the live production of Hamilton and then put it on Disney Plus so I could watch it there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of movie musicals out there. Musicals that are musicals designed for stage, but have been turned into a film script.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Lots of them.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I had another question. Josh, I guess do you have a favorite musical?
I don't have a favorite. I do have I guess my top 3 that I would recommend to
In no particular
everyone.
order?
The 3 that I would recommend everyone go see, I would say West Side Story. Watch West Side Story. Watch Singing in the Rain, and then watch Les Mis. Yeah.
Classics, all 3.
I was gonna say, see, those are good and they're classics, sure, but to me, but I'm all about variety usually. So I would want to suggest. Actually, I like this segment, Josh. If we were to suggest like 3 musicals for anybody that's wanting to get into musicals to try, I'd probably say Les Mis. Yeah, okay. Off the top of my head, Les Mis, Rent, and Hamilton. Because you're getting some very different, a big variety there. Maybe, depending on how you want to go with it as well, possibly replace. The only one that I could think musically could replace it, you could switch out Hamilton with The Greatest Showman if you really wanted, because the music is similar-ish. Like it's close. Again, it's different, but it's in terms that it's more modern. Obviously, Rent has more modern-ish for the time, but
I need to add Rent to my list of. I need to add Rent to my list of need to see musicals.
I'm trying to think of my 3. I had them for a second there. Shoot, what was I thinking? Oh, I got it. Okay. So one of mine I did actually see in person and it was phenomenal, was Wicked.
That's
so good. So good.
Yeah, I've still never seen that.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I would like to.
Put it on the list.
Yeah. I went to go see it in person at the Fox and it was like absolutely magical. And unfortunately, I still can't find the recorded version of when Adam Lambert was Fiyero, because I really want to see Adam Lambert as Fiyero because he would crush it. I'm confident he did. So that's one. Chicago is another good one. That one's just what is that noise for, Josh?
I don't. The movie. I guess I just didn't like the movie.
I feel like if we're
trying to give, the movie was a little.
It's been so long since I've seen Chicago.
We have it. We could watch it sometime.
Same thing for Moulin Rouge. Sorry, I always think of those two the same, and I was telling.
I associated them as well.
And I don't really remember why, because it's been so long since I've seen them. But I think for me the reason I think the reason I connect them is that those are 2 musicals I very much remember were on our shelves at our first house. My first house that we had on VHS.
And Moulin Rouge.
We had them both on
awesome.
on VHS. And
I recommend Chicago.
Moulin Rouge.
I recommend Chicago because I feel like the music is amazing, and I also feel like if we're trying to come up with recommendations for people, I feel like it's pretty approachable. Like it's a good story, it's good music. It's not like, I don't know, it feels less theatrical to me, I guess. In terms of like, it seems almost more like just a story with music. Not that there's really a difference, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
I see what you mean. Like and this is actually making me question mine, because like throwing someone right into Les Mis seems like a big one.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. I mean, I still would recommend it probably because it's some variety, and that's a more epic scale of stuff.
But it does have some familiar faces.
The 2012 one does.
Yeah.
The 2012 movie. There was also a Liam Neeson one that I don't think was a musical.
The 2012 one. I don't
think that was a musical, but I can't remember. You should watch it.
I know, because I love Anne Hathaway and Eddie Redmayne.
There was also a BBC one. And
Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
I figured that out after you said. I was like, Jack Human. Like what? I was like,
I do that on purpose, but
Jack Human.
I figured you did.
Jack Human.
Jack is indeed a human.
Yeah, I have one more slot that I want to fill, and I'm not entirely sure what to put in it. But I feel like if we're looking for variety and something that like is going to be possibly like more down like a niche alley, I would suggest something like Little Shop of Horrors or Sweeney Todd, something that is kind of like that dark, weird way, but like also really good.
I don't know how I forgot about Little Shop of Horrors. I love that music.
It's good. Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors is great. Yeah. Have you guys ever seen a musical in person, or are all of the musicals you've seen been like on DVD or streaming?
I've seen a few on stage at the Aurora. Somewhat close by me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm further away from it now, but I've seen Les Mis actually live 2 or 3 times.
Did you see it at the Aurora?
Yeah.
I saw Les Mis at the Aurora.
Yay.
What the hey?
I've also seen Christmas Canteen, which I think that may be specific to. I don't know.
Yeah, that's specific to the Aurora, and that's not really a musical. It's more of a.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know what I would call it. It's not a variety show. It's like
it kind of is, but
it's kind of. We actually went and saw it this year. It was good.
Oh wait, this year?
They did it outside.
Oh.
Yeah, they did it. We were outside in 30-degree weather, like completely bundled up.
Was that like they did? It was like the summer one, right? Where it was like
Probably.
In Summer was one of the songs.
Yeah.
And I helped record stuff for the one that they put. Yeah. So Christmas Canteen, the way they do it at the Aurora Theater, for anyone who doesn't know, including Josh, they just do sort of a loosely tied together plot with a bunch of Christmas songs. So it's not really a musical, but it is like going to see a musical performance live. Yeah. So it's fun.
And it's festive too. So
it's a good way to get you into the season. Yeah.
There were also a few that I watched in college, early on in college. When I think it was probably when I was at the Art Institute before I went to Georgia State. Me and my dad would go to, or he would take me to go to I think it was Georgia Tech, because they have like a production thing that happens, and we saw a few things there. Not all of the musicals, I don't think, but then when I was studying music, when I was taking some music classes at Georgia State for my minor, we had to go see some, like a musical or something. There was one, again, I don't remember it too much. It was a French thing. That's all I remember about it.
Okay.
So yeah, I've seen a few.
Okay. Josh?
First of all, some of us watched musicals on VHS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right.
The first. Yeah.
If Mary Poppins counts, then I did too.
No, I'm talking about Cats. Like.
Oh, really?
I think from the late 1980s or the early 90s,
okay.
It was the very popular Broadway show, and my music teacher recorded it. Had brought the filmed VA guys had the recorded version of it, and made all of his students watch it, and like I think I was in I had to be in like first grade or second grade when we all saw it. and it was like this. It was wild.
It's horrible.
Especially
I
like,
hate that. I was so
What?
freaked out about it as a kid. We had it on VHS.
Oh, no.
it was
I-
it was wild. It was wild.
I think my parents actually also took me to see that live when I was a kid. I hated it. That's why I was so turned off from musicals for the longest time.
Mm.
It's
I
creepy.
think it was a little creepy, especially with the stuff with like McCavity and just some of the musical numbers they did,
Oh dear.
and exposing that to it. And that was to like a child with no context of musicals and people dressed in cat costumes and
Oh no.
this like metaphysical like thing going on the screen. But it still stuck with me a little bit, and I was like, okay, that was actually, looking back, that was actually really good. That was some really good stuff. Let's see. I've seen one in person, in the theater. I took a date to see.
Yeah.
I took a date to see Tuck Everlasting.
That was a musical?
The theater had turned it into a musical.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, they did a good job.
Weird.
Actually,
But that's the only one I think I've seen. I don't think I've seen any other musicals. Plays, yes, not musicals in theaters.
now I'm just thinking of a bunch of others that I've forgotten about. Oh, what a life. Oh, dang it. I just lost it. No. Okay, one that I've always loved the music to, but not the play. And actually, now that I'm trying to think of it, I can't remember if it's technically a musical, because I don't know if there's any singing or anything.
Okay.
The Nutcracker.
Okay, well that's a ballet.
Yeah,
It's a ballet. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because I remember like the music.
So you don't like ballet, you just like Tchaikovsky.
I do like. This is accurate. I am.
I
big
like Tchaikovsky
fan.
too,
I
yeah.
think everybody likes Tchaikovsky. Yeah.
Yeah. He did the song from Sleeping Beauty as well. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that's Tchaikovsky as well.
Cool. But yeah, that's why I was just like, I remember seeing that as a kid too, and that freaked me out.
I love the Nutcracker Ballet. My mom stopped. We used to go every year. And my mom stopped taking us when I turned like 15 or 16. And then years later, I looked back and I was like, Mom, why didn't we go see it anymore? And she's like, I thought you grew out of it. I'm like, no, I want to go see the Nutcracker every year.
It's just
Because I took ballet for a long time.
the giant Nutcracker freaked me out.
It wasn't
did you
the mom. There's like the mom in the scene with all of the sweets who are all like personified. There's one of them that's like the mom, and she's got like a bunch of tiny children under her skirt, and they just like keep coming out of her skirt.
Possibly.
That's
I
fun.
do not remember that as much.
Yeah.
I have never seen the Nutcracker.
Oh, it's so good.
Don't.
good.
It's horrible.
No, it's awesome.
But also that did.
No,
make
it's
me
not a
think-
musical. It's a ballet.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I still haven't seen it.
It did make me think of another one too.
I feel like we've reached a new level of nerd variety because we just mentioned a composer.
Yes, but
Like,
I love
heck yeah.
composers. I would talk about composers.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I would talk about
classical
composers
composer.
a lot more
yeah. Fight
if
me.
I was given the chance.
Episode for next season. Excuse me.
Yes. Yes.
Tchaikovsky's my
yes.
favorite.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. But no, it also made me think it may have been later in my life than I thought originally, but I think when I was in college, I also went to see Stomp. Which, is that a musical?
I've heard of that. I'm not super familiar with that, to be honest.
It's fun. It's fun. Of course, it can kind of feel like just a lot of noise sometimes.
I was gonna say, is that it's not a musical as much as it is like a
I
is
guess
it just like a
performance or something. I don't
just
know.
a musical group.
Well, and I can't really remember because again, it's been
Interesting.
so long. I just remembered that I saw it because
Well,
I
then let
remembered
me
it in
talk
the
about
same
actual musicals I've gone to see.
train. I remembered it in the same train of thought as the Nutcracker. So
I was in Annie in middle school or high school. So that was
Who were
fun.
you?
I was an orphan. I've never been typecast according to my appearance my whole life, and I'm just not a blonde leading lady. Never will be, but that's okay.
wait, wasn't Annie redhead?
Annie was a
Well,
redhead.
in our play, she was blonde.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Shout out to
stupid.
my friend Emily. I love you, but I'm still a little mad. But that's good. And I guess I saw Wicked in theaters, in like an actual theater, and that was great. And I seen Oklahoma in an actual theater. And then I feel like one of my favorite ones, I don't for the life of me remember what it was called, but it was like a biblical play, a biblical musical. And what I really liked about that particular one is the way they did it. I can't remember the name of the stage is called, but there's a few different kinds of stages, and this was one that was basically a square, and we were all in like a balcony above it, so that like it was like the audience was in a circle around the stage basically, and the stage was in the center of the room, and so they kind of had to play to like all four walls, and just like the way that they staged it and choreographed it was really cool because of that. So that was one that I really enjoyed seeing in person as well. Excuse me, I keep coughing.
Get it together.
I'm sorry. So Josh, I feel like I have to ask, why aren't you more into musicals? Because you said they're not really your thing, but like, is there something that turns you off to them, or are you just like meh?
You just don't think about it very much?
I don't think about them very much. I can appreciate a good musical number, a good story that they're trying to tell. But this is not something I gravitate toward. And so like I heard about The Greatest Showman, but I didn't know much about it. I was like, oh, it's like a nice little movie that came out back then. But it just didn't show up on my rate. It just didn't like, I wasn't motivated to go see it in theaters. And then when I think we were all hanging out in Atlanta the following summer, you guys were all singing the soundtrack, and I was like, I have no idea what you guys are
I was in
about.
the same boat with that.
Yeah. And so then y'all made me watch it. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. They have some really sound musical numbers. It is not historically accurate at all, but it is great. And I still listen to I still catch myself listening to A Million Dreams and Never Enough, because it's just,
I listen to like
those are my favorite numbers there.
Yeah.
See, that's an example of a musical where I love the music. I could take or leave the actual like movie, the rest of it, because it just wasn't particularly interesting. The music was much better, I think.
Yeah.
And that also makes me think I think I told you guys this before we started recording. The Prom is another one that just came out on Netflix this weekend, and I feel the exact opposite from The Greatest Showman. Great movie, I loved it. The music was like, it wasn't bad, but it just was rather forgettable, I'd say.
Gotcha. Have either of you seen Hairspray?
I saw the newest remake, the remake from like early 2000s. With
John Travolta as mom.
Yeah.
Okay, because I love that musical, and Patrick, my husband, refuses to watch it with me because he's like bleh, which is weird because he likes musicals too. But I love that musical. I think the music is amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's so good.
Yeah.
You hurt me.
I also, to clarify, I also I think I was mentioning I'm not a fan of Chicago. I'm also not a fan of Grease.
Ooh, that one's tough.
Yeah.
I like Grease. Although again, that's another one. I kind of make myself believe that I think it's better than I actually think it is, because it's so popular and everybody talks about it all the time.
See, I do the opposite. Because I'm still trying to get over like my anti-conformity nature. I'm just very much like, everyone likes it, but it's probably not that great, which is admittedly why I still haven't seen Hamilton.
Oh God!
Because everyone's like, Hamilton's amazing, and I'm like, it's not going to be that good.
It is good though.
I think Hamilton.
It probably is good. But I just feel like after all the hype, it can't possibly be that good.
But actually, I think it's really funny, the non-conforming view, especially when you take that in regards to Grease, because it ends up like the whole point of it, or the whole message behind it, is you should conform so that people will like you better.
Right, exactly. No, that's stupid.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah. And Hamilton, Hamilton is on. I have access to Disney Plus. Hamilton's been sitting in my watch list for a while, but I just haven't
Yeah.
forced myself. I had to kind of push myself to watch
I'm
it.
just really excited.
Even though I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, I'm just excited to watch Anastasia because that's on Disney Plus now. And Anastasia is a solid musical. The music in Anastasia is so good.
It is. That should be adapted live action.
My gosh.
Go ahead and do it.
So
Disney,
good.
Disney, if you're listening, please go ahead and redo that.
Disney listens to our podcast?
I wish. That would be
And they're gonna just start promoting us now.
That'd be great. I do have one final question for you guys in our last couple minutes, which is if you could go see any musical as a live performance, pick one. What musical would you want to go see performed live? So that's taking into account the music, the story, but also I feel like kind of the scale of the thing. So like Les Mis is a huge sort of production, but also something like Little Shop of Horrors would be really cool because they have to animate this plant monster, right?
So for me, this is an easy one because there's one that I've wanted to see for a long time now that I cannot watch anywhere else because it's not available anywhere else except live, at least to my knowledge, and that is the Book of Mormon. Because I've heard really good things about it.
Things to watch.
I've listened to
musicals to watch.
I've listened to it. I've heard great things, and I can't see it anywhere. I want to go watch it. Also, another shout out. If you are a fan, if you have seen it or listened to it, Andrew Rannells is the lead. At least he was the original lead on Broadway. He's in The Prom, and he kills it.
Josh?
Slay. Oh, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know if I have an answer.
Yeah, I'm thinking because I think I saw Cats and Singing in the Rain around the same time when I was a kid. Cats I saw when I was in school. Singing in the Rain was on PBS, which is the only channel we had at the time. And it was just it just got me and my sister's attention. Just oh, this is good. This is good. What's this? And I've still kind of go back to find myself listening to music sometimes. But I know there's a musical number in there that's kind of why is this in there? And it's weird. I think, do you know what I'm talking about, Hannah?
I don't know. No.
That weird ballet thing they do at the end of the movie.
Maybe, yeah.
The movie. Yeah, it's just why is this there? Isn't necessary. She drags the movie on for 20 more minutes, and it's pointless.
Because of Oklahoma, actually, but that's a story for another time.
Okay, but I think Singing in the Rain would be the one.
Singing in the Rain would be really cool. Yeah. I just want to go see musicals always. I just want to see all of them. Just buy me tickets to musicals. I want to go see them. Also operas. I wanted to talk about opera, but maybe it'll have to be a mini episode some other time. I of course want to go see Wicked again, but I think something like West Side Story would be really cool because I don't think I've ever actually seen it. I know the premise and I know some of the songs, but I don't think I've ever seen it. So doing something like that, I don't think so. So doing something like that where there's, I feel like a pretty large cast, an ensemble. So I think that would be really fun as well.
I would probably, I'll probably, if I couldn't see Singing in the Rain, I'll probably see West Side Story.
It'd be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today. Next week, I believe we're talking about tech and gadgets and things like that.
Yes.
As our sort of Christmassy episode. Yeah.
Things you should buy for capitalism's sake.
Yay, capitalism.
Or buy me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Buy us all gifts. Buy the Nerd Variety team.
I'll take some gifts. Yeah. But look forward to that next week. Until then, nerd out.
Nerd out.
Bye.
Bye.